Charles Xavier, aka the founder of the X-Men, has been played now by numerous great actors, with James McAvoy and Patrick Stewart being that of the most recent. His comic book origins began back in X-Men #1 in 1963. With multiverse storylines to play with, it's no surprise that our world's finest has had more than a handful of dark days. Either it's a doomed future riddled with zombies, or maybe Charles Xavier is just a Nazi. And yeah, you heard me correctly. Here to count down some of the darker days surrounding Charlie Boy, I'm Taylor McWatters. Let's get to it. Kicking off the list at number 10, Marvel Zombies. Arguably one of the nastiest alternate universes there is that of Marvel Zombies. We have all of our beloved heroes just going crazy and trying to eat everybody. This 5-issue story is beautifully drawn. We have the work of Sean Phillips to tell this dark, gruesome 2005 one-shot written by Robert Kirkman. And if you like this storyline, you'll love Marvel Zombies Return, which was released just a few years later, written by Fred Van Kent and David Wellington, and of course still has the beautifully gory illustrations. Now in this series we find our Charles Xavier, and he's helping the zombie gang find dinner. That's right, his brain is actually connected to Cerebro, so he can locate any remaining human beings. So don't even think about hiding under your bed and calling it a day. And before we continue, if you haven't done so already, make sure you give this video a nice thumbs up, because it sure does help us out here at the studio in our secret underground base of operations. It's this one here. Thank you. Okay, and back to Charles the Juggernaut. Number 9, Juggernaut. Next on our list, we're checking out What If Volume 2, Issue 13, where Professor X becomes, well, the Juggernaut. Yeah, what a combo, right? So in this Earth 905, we find Charles as the one who became the Juggernaut, and it's super fun. Now of course that means that Charles Jughead over here never formed the X-Men, so Magneto is doing the big bad. That is, until Xavier digs his way out of the collapsed cave. Professor X plus the look and power of Juggernaut, I mean that's pretty badass. He straight up threatens Spider-Man by telling him to stay out of mutant affairs. Peter Parker, or your aunt will be told of your secret. Now, as far as threats go, it's not bad at all. Getting in your head while looking like that, you win, buddy. I won't even fight you. Then near the end of the issue, we see Charles fully embracing the large life, yelling about how nobody disobeys the Juggernaut. And it's damn frightening to see this guy mid-sprint, I'll tell you that. Do not want to be in the way of him. And coming in at number 8, Fascist Xavier. Taking place on Earth 13410, we find Charles as the founding leader of the British Union of Fascists. That's right, taking place in Extreme X-Men Volume 2, Issue 10, Xavier swore to save his country from depression and invasion. So he created an alliance with Mussolini, Hitler, Stalin, and Tojo. So this issue is pretty ambitious to say the least. Like even the cover page, like holy shit. It picks up halfway across the multiverse. Xavier rules over all of the people of this world, and it's grim. He makes this big reveal and he looks like this big wizard. It's wild. He's like, I considered killing you and your friends, but I kind of like your face, so all good. Safe to say that any type of X-Men as a Nazi is definitely gonna get a spot on a dark alternate version list. That's almost a given, especially when you kill Captain America. Come on. And number 7, King Charles I. Taking place in Marvel 1602, released back in 2003, we see quite the spin on our common supers. Dr. Doom is referred to as Count Otto von Doom. Already this issue rocks. This Elizabethan era superhero story written by Neil Gaiman featured Carlos Xavier as a witch breed. Yeah, which was their way of explaining mutants back in the candlelit days. They of course had the same school to train others with extraordinary abilities, but this time it's all considered witchcraft. I feel like if David Blaine went back in time for like 1 minute, he would be burned at the stake. He'd be like, is this your card? And they're like, yes it is. Bye. This issue is quite wordy. It feels and sounds like Game of Thrones. There's a lot of whisper planning, you know? It starts with Sir Nicholas Fury and a handwritten note that makes the readers do this. Like the handwriting's a bit too old, you know? But it's nice. It's definitely a old vibe. So if the cold Elizabethan vibe is up your alley, you know where to go. Number 6, Xavier the Wizard. Making his first debut in Uncanny X-Men 153, this version of Charles might be one of my favorites on the list. The issue opens up with Kitty Pryde reading a bedtime story to Ileana, and the front of the story sees it titled Kitty's Fairy Tale. How fun. We see our main players and their respective roles. Charles with the new alias, The Wizard. And I love his new look. Anything with wizards, I'm sold. Now, it's a children's story, so it's not too dark, but it's insane to leave this out. So, in this fairy tale, we have the Dark Phoenix as the destroyer, the chaos, the ravager of worlds. And she's just destroying everything. And then all of a sudden, our trusty Xavier the Whiz Kid comes in and traps Jean Grey's soul in an orb, her true self. The wizard goes on to explain that this crystal is the only weapon capable of destroying the Dark Phoenix. And you bet it worked like a charm, literally, because, you know, wizards and stuff. And number 5, Bad Baby. We find this version of Charles much younger. Taking place in the new X-Men issue 121, we find Charles as a baby in utero. Now, this may seem like a timeout zone, you know, like nothing malicious should happen before you're born. Like at least wait until you see the world, get a glimpse for it. Maybe check it out for a day and then go from there. We see Cassandra Nova, Professor X's twin sister, in there with him. And we watch the two being biologically conceived. And as they grow, we see baby Charles make his way over and he senses the evil from his twin, and then he starts just like punching her in the face. Yeah, you just slowly see him drift over and just bam, just deck her. And then if that isn't bad enough, he wraps the umbilical cord around her neck, and then that doesn't work, so he uses his damn psychic powers to kill Cassandra. This is for sure on the list. This should be on every list. This is crazy. I don't care how evil she was. These pages are a wild sight to see. It's a baby! I'll move on. And number 4, President X. Now I think is the perfect time to reflect on past presidents. So at Top 10 Nerd, we of course have to include President X. Making his rounds in Ruins issue 1 back in 1995 miniseries, we have Charles Xavier as the president. Sounds cool, it's not. He's been elected and he moved into the White House. Well, rather, he moved the White House to Westchester. Yeah, he moved it from Washington because he's cool like that, you know? This is a dark tale. The illustrations are done really well by Cliff and Therese Nielsen. So Warren Ellis wrote this idea that the X-Men hadn't formed, and rather Charles was locking up certain X-Men characters in a Texan prison. But don't worry, he still visits them, you know, just to make sure they're still being tortured and all. And number 3, Lord Xavier, also known as the Witch King. Volume 2, Issue 9, Extreme X-Men. The Witch King ruled over Genosha and sports a look that probably takes the cake. I mean, come on, this is just badass. He has an army of orcs and beasts on top of his already spectacular abilities. In this issue, we also see a few upgrades to the Professor, like concussive energy blast, for example. In the opening of the story, we see him effortlessly take down invaders with machines. So it doesn't matter how you roll up to this fight. If you want to roll up in a car, maybe a helicarrier, whatever the case, Lord Xavier will laugh as he showcases just how powerful he can be. And number 2, X-Men Noir. One of my favorites, released back in 2008, X-Men Noir issue 1 gave us a gothic dark version of the Prof. Taking place on Earth 90214, Charles is a psychiatrist who runs the Xavier School. Only this school is for exceptionally wayward youth, and rather a home to juvenile delinquents. So Charles' role in all this? Well, he trains them to become better criminals, that is. Yeah, after the death of one of his students, Warren Worthington III, due to his teaching methods, Charles was arrested and incarcerated in Rikers Island. I always loved the noir theme. Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was such a nice touch. Love that depressing black and white vibe mixed in there, you know? I feel like Nickelback should be playing the whole time you read these comics, definitely. Just in the background, just very low. And finally, coming in at number 1, Logan. Released in 2017, this R-rated Wolverine flick showed us just how dark the superhero game can get. After the success of Deadpool, Fox decided to take Wolverine out with a long, sad bang. And if you haven't seen it, it's brilliant. James Mangold did a really good job on this one. The year is 2028 and Wolverine and Xavier are not in the best shape. Logan's healing ability is dwindling and Charles suffers from seizures. This is a very dark X-Men story, so the Westchester incident is referred to numerous times in this flick. And in this movie, it was when Charles had a seizure that ended up killing 600 people, including a good number of X-Men. So it's a really good sequence where he has a seizure near a casino, and let me tell you, that's one of the most tense scenes in a superhero movie I've ever seen. Not even just saying this, I talk about this scene often. His brain is considered a weapon of mass destruction, and you'll see why. So Charles and Logan, or rather, Logan, as he says it 900 times in the movie, they're trying to lay low and keep each other safe, with the help of Caliban, of course. Well, there you have it, guys. Which version of Charles Xavier do you think is the darkest? For me, it's either the or the baby boxer. Definitely close with those two. Those two are for sure up there. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. I'm Taylor McWatters. Later, skaters. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, he says as he chokes on human pieces. We have the work of Sean Phillips. We have the work of Sean Phillips. There we go. My commas, I'll put too many in and I'm like, I guess we're singing a song. And Wolverine and Charles Logan are not. See, Logan's Wolverine and Charles. Why did I say Charles Logan? So weird. Am I drunk?